quiet place. This is an important call, I think, for a lot of you. Almost every single one of you. Very, very few exceptions. This would not be a normal Friday morning conference call. If you're going to be preoccupied or distracted, I just encourage you not even to be on the call, because I'm looking to talk to the people who are serious right now. I'm looking for the people who want to build something, not just throw some points together and some apps and make some money and get some recruits. I'm looking for people who want to learn how to build, who want to be builders, who want to build something big. Those are the people that I want to talk to exclusively this morning. Not as any kind of consequence or punishment to those of you who just aren't there yet or just not ready. I want to maybe shrink down the audience a little bit, and I don't want people who are going to be distracted with babies and puppies and mailmen and shuffling papers and half listening to the call and half meeting with other people. And if you're a part-timer trying to sneak on the call, but you're at a job, you should probably not be on the call this morning. This is I need your undivided attention. No, I don't need it. I don't need nothing. But you need to have your undivided attention glued in if you're serious. And if you can't do that, then you should maybe try and get a rebroadcast of it and listen to it when you can. Because if you listen half-heartedly today, you're probably not going to bother listening again. It's my guess. I've got some important ideas. I've had an epiphany recently, and it's an epiphany for you that I think can really help you a great deal. Before I get into that, Ed and I have been going back and forth this morning about the Trump administration and what was shared yesterday in I think it was the Journal, and looks like they are pretty aggressively communicating that they are going to be repealing a great deal of Dodd-Frank and a great deal of the DOL judgment. Not that it really needs to be repealed, because it was more of an executive order than anything, but and how that may positively impact the way our firm deals with moving forward with a lot of the DOL implications that we've been discussing as a leadership team and as a hierarchy. So I don't know for sure, but I was pretty aggressive in my conversation, very aggressive with Ed, my conversation this morning, and he's pretty aggressively suggesting that the firm is going to minimize its impact that it has on a bunch of the agents. There are still things that the firm is going to need to follow through on, but overall going to minimize sort of the role and the impact that it's had. So I'm cautiously optimistic and encouraged by that. So I'm still getting my 65 license. I still believe you should get your securities licenses. I still believe you should get your 65 license. Whether the whole DOL thing is rolled back completely, you need to be securities licensed, then you want to be 65 licensed. If you want to get assets under management, really build a true residual passive income. So that's a side note. Here's what I really want to talk to you about this morning. I don't have any guest speakers this morning, so if you'd like to hear what my thoughts are, you're going to get a lot of them this morning. If you want to hear from a whole bunch of people that are winning in a hierarchy, this isn't that morning. Those are terrific mornings. I love those mornings, and they're usually our best mornings. But I've been thinking a lot about you, and I've been thinking a lot about this SMD University. I'm really, really excited about this SMD University. I've had a number of individual conversations with everybody from Wesley Tullis Jr., my newest direct, who is, 8 weeks in the business and trying to understand, is he too soon in the business for SMD University? Is it realistic? What's he really going to get out of it? To some of you that have been with us 2 years or 4 or 6, 8, 10, 12 years, and you're not yet an SMD, or some of you on the call that are an SMD, and the requirements of hitting an SMD, of having 10 licensed agents showing up to meetings, of producing 25,000 points a month consistently, of having $50,000 of cash flow in a rolling 12 consistently. Some of you struggle with that. And some of you are MDs and you struggle with upholding the standards of what it took you to get you there. Some of you qualified for senior associate or MD a long time ago, and you haven't really been running your businesses at a senior associate or an MD level. You haven't really been running your businesses at an SMD level. And so my call is really for you this morning. And I think if you are willing to sort of empty your cup this morning and listen with an open mind and maybe really ask yourself some important questions and really take some things into consideration, I think you can make massive, massive shifts. Remember, a decision is made in a moment. We make a decision in a moment. And a real decision, not an idea, not a thought, not a wish, but a real decision is we cut off all possibilities and we move forward in a new course of direction with a new plan, unwavering, never going back, never looking back. That's what a real decision is. And I think this morning, in our conversation that we're going to have, you and me, creates the possibility for today to be a real monumental day in your career, a day where you can make a decision that can dramatically change the way you look at the business, the way you do the business, and the success that you have in the business. That's my thought for you. That's my hope for you today. And that's I'm not coming from a position of arrogance, like I know it all. Believe me, I don't know it all. I don't know it all. But I've had my share of wins. I've had my share of successes. And despite all my shortcomings and all my frailties and all my weaknesses and all the times I get too far out over my skis and all the times you're like, I can't believe this guy. I've built a pretty good business. I think most of you would love to override, whatever that means. So I want to walk you through. I want you to take notes, and at the same time, I want you to not just take notes as to what I'm saying, but I want you to listen and think about what I'm saying as we're talking about it. I want to start off with letting you know just how much I appreciate you and where you're at. There's many common definitions and cliches about an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody who is said will work 12 or 14 or 16 hours a day for themselves, so they don't have to work 8 hours a day for someone else. And in many ways, for most of you, I know that's true of you. Like, you're working your butt off here, really trying to achieve something, really hoping to build something, really trying to create something special in your life. The easiest thing in the world would have been for you already to quit this and go back to your job. Go back to that industry that you used to be a part of. Go back to that career. That would have been the easiest thing in the world for you to do, from a standpoint of, man, just giving your life some stability and maybe less responsibility and fewer hours and a more consistent income. But it would have taken away all the hope, all of the dreams, all the goals, all the chance of really doing something big and special and meaningful with your life. I was talking to Wesley last night. I got home close to midnight, and he had shared with me. He got a really terrific text from his girlfriend, and he had shared with me. And part of the text was like, she really respects and appreciates the late nights that he puts in and how committed he is early on in this career, and yet he knows that there is some level of concern. Like, she's like, golly, it really takes a lot of time, and it's a big sacrifice, and it's something you have to do for a long time. And I just shared with him. I said, for me, and I can remember having this conversation with my wife many times, I just decided I would rather, if I'm going to be the one that's going to change our family's destiny forever, if I'm going to be the one that really provides the unique experiences in our life, that really creates the wealth for our family, that really gives our family the choices that we wouldn't have. I ought to get to choose what I'm going to do with my life. And if what I choose, if what I'm passionate about, if what I believe in means that I'm going to be working evenings in the field, I'm going to be working weekends, if that's what it means for me, I ought to be able to choose what it is that I want to do. I ought to be able to do something I love, even if it's more hours, it's more demanding. And I understand the fact that my wife wouldn't have chosen this for her if she was in my role, but I chose it. And I was sharing that with Wesley, and the reason I chose it was I was going to work hard anyway, but working hard here meant something to me. It was significant. I had a shot. I had a chance to do something. And I had a chance to do something here that I couldn't do in corporate America. And I'm grateful I took that chance. So I just want to start out today's call by letting you know how much I appreciate you. I don't care if you've been here 12 years and you're a senior associate or you're an MD making $16,000 a year with us, or you're an SMD who's been here 8 years and you're making $43,000 a year. I don't care about your numbers from a standpoint of that I'm judging you based on your numbers. I appreciate you. I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate all your efforts, even if your efforts haven't added up to what you've wanted or expected or know they should have added up to by now. I appreciate you as a friend, as a human being, as a family member on the team. I appreciate you. And I hope you appreciate yourself and the work that you put in and how far you've gotten and what you've learned. I think that's really important. I think at the same time, I think we need to get some leverage on ourselves. If this is going to be a breakout year for us, please stop the background noise. Please don't do that to the call. Please just hang up. Please just hang up. It's unfair to the rest of the team. You're not in the place. You shouldn't be listening to this call. I want you to get some leverage on yourself. If 2017 is going to be your year, if this really is going to be your best year ever, if it's going to be a year of not incremental linear growth but exponential growth, some things got to change, and they got to change massively. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. What's it costing you? What has it cost you so far not to get promoted to senior marketing director? What does it cost you to still be a senior associate? What does it cost you to still be a marketing director? What does it cost you to still be an SMD and not have your ring? What does it cost you to be a senior marketing director and only have your blue ring? You didn't sign up in this deal to be making 100, 120, 130, 140 grand a year, 1099 with office rent and expenses related to events and an assistant. And it'd just be easier to work make $90,000 at a job somewhere, right? That's not what you signed up for. So what has it cost you so far to not really become an SMD, get your ring, get your $250,000 ring, and really build something? What's it cost you? I want you. Who else has it cost in addition to you? Who else has believed in you? Who else has made sacrifices along the way? Who else has paid part of the price of you not being around? Who else has paid part of the price of you not winning yet? Of maybe some financial challenges that you've gone through in the process of growing and building your business? Who else has it cost? Be honest. These are difficult questions to ask, and if you're the right person on this call, much more difficult questions to answer. But it's important to get leverage on yourself. Hey, if you went another year and had the kind of year this year that you did last year, the year before, what's the cost going to be then? To you, to them, to your family, to your legacy, to your relationships? What's the cost going to be if not just 2017, 2018 ends and you're still in the same spot? What's the cost then? I know you're saying, hey, there's no way that would happen. I wouldn't let it happen. But many of you said that 2 years ago at the end of 2014, starting 2015. in the beginning of 2017. I'd quit before I'd only be there, and yet here we are. What's it going to cost you 2 years down the road? What about 5 years? What about 5 years goes by and you're still not a senior marketing director? It's beginning in 2022. Think of how old you'll be. Think of how long you'll have been in this game. What are the costs to you financially? How much money didn't you make that you should have? How much money didn't you accumulate in wealth that you should have? How much more debt did you accumulate? What were the costs to you and your relationships? What were the costs to you in time? What were the costs to you in opportunities lost and experience missed? What were the costs to you in just the way that you feel about yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you treat yourself? What are the costs to you maybe in your health? What about 10 years out? 10 years out, you still haven't made the changes that you need to make. 10 years out, you're still sort of just muddling along. Maybe you're growing 5 and 10% per year, but never really having that explosive year, never really maxing it out, never really going to SMD and getting your ring and EMD and $250,000 ring, never building it to 30 and then 50 and then 100 people, then 120 and then 150 and 200. You're just sort of putting along, growing by 3 or 4 licensed agents a year. What's the cost? For the right person, answering these questions is extremely painful, but the pain is important. The pain is what creates the leverage. What's the ultimate cost to you of you not winning here? What's the ultimate cost to your family, to you as a man, to you as a woman, to your career, to you financially, to your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence, to your legacy? Be back at some job, but what's the cost in terms of your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations? What's the ultimate cost? All right, next step. I want to ask you a direct question. I want you to answer just in 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 words as quickly as you can. Why haven't you achieved SMD yet? Or if you are an SMD, why haven't you gotten your ring yet? Or if you have gotten your ring, why are you only an SMD? Why don't you have 30 people showing up to meetings yet? Or why can't you put 50 people in a room yet? Or why haven't you earned your $250,000 ring yet? Or why haven't you promoted any SMDs yet? What's the answer to that? You know what the answer is. Jot it down real quick. If I unmuted right now and had you answer that question from me in front of everybody, you know exactly what we could say. Write down right now what you would say to the answer to that question, because you know what the answer is. And here's what that answer is. That answer is your story. Whether it's filled with, we just went through a bad season and there was health challenges, or my spouse wasn't supportive, or my market, or our finances, or my whatever that story, whatever the reason is that you just gave, and hopefully you gave the reason. Hopefully you didn't just write down the questions. Hopefully you're allowing yourself to go through the process as we speak. That's your story. And now I want you to ask yourself the question, what's that story done for you? Because it served a positive role for you. As much as it's held you back, as much as it's masked the pain and helped you to avoid the pain, it's done something positive for you. Maybe what it's done positive for you is help you to avoid the pain or help you to justify where you're at, or I don't know. But take a moment, not for me, but for you, and answer the question. What has it done for you in a positive way? Stories always help us to avoid the pain. They always help us to avoid the truth. But the more that we put energy into a story, the more real it becomes for us, and the more it cripples us, it paralyzes us. It's time to shift our story. If you're going to build something, if you're going to have exponential growth this year, if this is really your best year ever, we have to make a decision right now in the moment, right this very moment. We got to make a decision that we're never, ever, ever going to tell ourselves that story again. That story is complete bullshit. It served its purpose. It's done. It's done. Like, I needed it then. I don't need it anymore. I'm letting go of it. Thank you. Been there, done that, over with. It's time. The story is nothing more than a pattern. It's a pattern of language that we're telling ourselves over and over and over. It's time to break the pattern. You got to interrupt the pattern. You got to know what the story is, know what it's done to help you, but also know what it's doing to hold you back. And you got to become really clear. Like, I can't ever. And what you got to make a decision right now. Every time I start to tell myself that story, or every time somebody starts to ask me why I'm not an SMD yet, or why I don't have my ring yet, or why this, like, you've got to consciously decide right now, what is it I'm going to say to break that pattern? I'm not going to tell that story ever again to another human being. I'm not even going to begin the story, because I know it's a pattern. If I begin the story, I'm going to finish the story. I'm not going to allow myself to tell myself that story. It's not my upline. It's not the office. It's not the system. It's not my market. It's not my spouse. It's not my age. I'm not too young. I'm not too old. It's time to break the pattern. So what am I going to, when I start to go down that road, and we know we're going to start to go down that road again, what's the trigger? What's going to trigger me? What's the new story I'm going to tell myself instead? Well, I used to say this was it. However, here's my new reality. Here's my new reality. See, we've got to identify what the pattern is, what the story is. We've got to break the pattern, and we've got to create a new story. But now what I want to do is I want to help you with a new strategy, and the new strategy is really the epiphany that I've come across the past few weeks. And the new strategy, I think, is perfectly designed for you. Whether you're a senior associate or an MD or an SMD, like I see the numbers. I know where you're at. You and I both know what you're capable of. You and I both know what we expect for you and what we have expected for you in the past. And that's not an unrealistic expectation. And it doesn't make you a failure, the fact that you haven't lived up to it yet. But we need to make a massive shift in our strategy and where we're putting our focus and energy. I love. I think one of the keys to you winning at the highest level this year is your baseline units of activity. Reporting that on your little local base shop group B, reporting that to your mentor, to your leader, to your coach, and just that daily activity. I think that's a critical part of you having your best year ever. I can't overemphasize that enough. But along with that, I think we need to have a new strategy when it comes to building. Any of you that have read Kiyosaki's work, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or the Cash Flow Quadrant, he makes a point about the wealthy and the middle class. And he says the middle class work for one thing and wealthy people work for something different. Who knows what he suggests that middle class people work for? Who could answer that question? What do middle class people work for? Anybody? I don't think I muted the call.
Muting canceled.
Classified. Money.
Money. Middle class people work for money. I work for a salary. I work for an hourly wage. I work for a paycheck. We're trading. The middle class people are trading time for money. Right? Even in commission sales, you're trading time for money. Even in commission sales, I'd write that in my notes, I'm trading time for money. Even in commission sales, I'm trading time for money. See, the conditioning that we need to break for most of you is that you've been conditioned your whole life to be middle class. To look at trading time for money. If you're driving in the background, like we can hear the background, but just mute yourself. We hear your radio or whatever. You're talking to somebody like, my God. Sorry, I had some more questions. questions to ask, but because we got a couple of people who are just never will have a chance to win if they don't change the way they're thinking. Middle-class people work for money. Well, the second question is, if middle-class people work for money and wealthy people don't work for money, what do wealthy people work for?
Time.
What Kiyosaki would suggest, what Siebold would suggest, and what I'm here to suggest, is that wealthy people work to build assets.
Muting canceled.
Focus is not on money.
Their focus is on assets.
You are now muted.
Well, then where do they get their money if they're not working for money? Their assets produce income for them. That's the way they do it. Their assets produce income for them. I was having a conversation with a director recruit of mine I picked up like a year ago. He makes $140 at his day job. He's working 14, 16 hours a day. Can't stand what he does, but he's like grateful. I make more money than most people, but he wants to do the business. He got licensed a year ago. Here's the reason in his mind he's not doing business is because he started to do the AML and all that, like the 16 hours of continued that kind of stuff you need to do after you get licensed, and it was just too big of a pain for him, so he hasn't completed that. And so, my point to him is like, well, what's preventing you from bringing down guests? He's like, well, I don't want to miss out on the money. I go, dude, you totally don't get it. Like, you're working 14, 16 hours a day to make $140 grand a year, and here's what you're telling me what you want to do is you want to get licensed and good at the product so you can go get clients. You're just in the same middle-class trap. You're just trading something you don't like doing that you have to do for money to something you think you're going to like more to work for more money. Whether you're working for more money or less money, whether you enjoy it more or enjoy it less, whether you feel good about it or don't feel good about it, you're still working for money. You're not going to win. The guys and the gals that are winning in WFG, the Nikki Cannons of the world, the Mark Onstadts of the world, the Melinda Blue Taylors of the world, the Natalie Plants of the world, they're not working for money. They're working to build an asset. And that is producing their income. When you look at my personal production year after year after year and you look at my income, there's no correlation. Why is there no correlation? Because I don't personally produce for money. The only reason I personally produce is to train and develop other people. It's the only reason I do it. But the majority of my income, the overwhelming majority, 95% of my income comes from the assets that I've built over the years and that I continue to build. So if you are someone who wants to go out to SMD, graduate SMD University, if you're somebody who wants to do it the quote-unquote right way, if you're someone who quote-unquote wants to go out strong, I want to be a builder. I hear those words thrown around a lot. I want to be a leader, right? Let's talk about the strategy you need to have to make that happen, and maybe a strategy that's been missing in your game plan. I got a funny feeling it has been. Major note-taking time right now. You need to find a new strategy. What is the new strategy that you need to find? Try building. If we look in step 6 of the business format system, step 6 is called what? And everybody said, you're all on mute, so you can go ahead and try and say it. Duplicate. My job is to shut up. If you're in the car, I am so disappointed by the few people that don't know how to mute a phone, that when I ask you to pull over and not be on the call, choose to keep driving. When I ask you not to be doing other things, you're still shuffling papers. I tried to unmute the call so we could have a conversation that we can't. And leaders, I want you to correct your people. I want you to lead your people and coach your people about how to attend a conference call or not attend a conference call, because it's a leadership issue, and we've got to We've got to teach and lead and hold our people accountable better than what we're experiencing on too many of these calls. So we need a new strategy. What is the new strategy that we need? The new strategy is building. And step 6, called duplication, it talks about copying, and it talks about the master copy. So here's the big epiphany. Is the master copy worth duplicating? If you want to be a builder, what should the master copy look like? Let me give you an example. If you're a senior associate and you haven't put up senior associate numbers in a while, or inconsistently, if you're an MD and you haven't put up MD numbers consistently or in a while, if you're an SMD and you haven't put up SMD numbers consistently in a while, here's the question that I have for you. Can you put up associate numbers? Now, I know some of you think that's beneath you. Some of you, well, I'm an SA, I'm an MD, I'm an SMD. I haven't been an associate in a long time. I mastered that a long time ago. Well, have you really mastered it? Because, after all, what does it take to get promoted from training associate to associate? It takes 3-3-30. Have you mastered that? Have you mastered getting promoted from training associate to associate? Or did it just sort of happen once for you, like 4 years ago or 8 years ago or 12 years ago, I did a 3-3-30. Yeah, I passed that barrier once, never to pass it again. Or I passed it 3 times in my 12-year career. I've done 3-3-30. Man, I don't know that you've mastered becoming an associate. You want to be a builder. You want to build other people from training associate. You want to build associates from associate to senior. You want to build seniors to MDs and MDs to SMDs. But if you've only done 3-3-30 once or twice or 3 times in your career, is the master copy worth duplicating? When you get a new direct or you get a new recruit in your base shop and you challenge them to 3-3-30, what are your beliefs about 3-3-30 and how hard or how easy it is? What are your expectations? How congruent are you when you're talking to them? I would suggest this: if you've only done 3-3-30 like 3, 4, 5, 8 times in the past 10 years, you probably don't have a great deal of certainty about it. You probably don't have a great deal of confidence that they're going to do it. You probably have beliefs that it's way harder and you really don't expect them to do it because you haven't done it that many times. You probably really don't expect them to do it at all. It would probably shock you if they did it. You're probably not really challenging them. Your language and your behavior and your actions around your leadership probably aren't congruent with them achieving 3-3-30 at all. That's my guess. The master copy has to be worth duplicating. The master copy, and I'm not saying you're not worthwhile. Please don't take it out of context. You're an unbelievable human being. We started the call with that. You're awesome. You're an entrepreneur. You're hungry. You want to make this happen. You put your heart and soul in thousands of hours for years. But maybe we put thousands of hours into the wrong thing. Maybe instead of focusing on, hundreds and hundreds of confirmed guests and how many points do I need and the exchange leg and the licensed people and all that, maybe your focus should be, I got to get my 3-3-30 this month. February is my 3-3-30 month. I'm going to prove to myself and my team that I can re-qualify for associate promotion. I'm not too cool for school. I've not been there, done that. That's not like so far beneath me that I don't even need to show anybody that I can do it because I'm so far past that. No, I'm going to do it this month just to show everybody how easy it is. And to remind myself how easy it is. And of my 3 new directs, I'm going to challenge each one of them to 3-3-30. And one of them's probably going to quit a week or 2 or 3 weeks in. Maybe one of them does 3-3-30, and maybe the other guy does 1-2-30. But since I'm trying to create a master copy, you know what I'm going to do in March? I'm going to do 3-3-30 again. Myself personally. I'm going to re-qualify as a ring-earning SMD. I'm going to personally re-qualify for 3-3-30 again in March, 2 months in a row. Well, now out of my 6 directs over the past 2 months, I bet 1 or 2 of them hit 3-3-30.
I bet one of them that only does 1:30 or 2:30 in February, maybe they do 3:30 the second month because they see I've done it 2 months in a row, and they got some momentum. I even want to suggest this. Let's say you're doing your daily baseline, you're doing your last man standing, and you're killing yourself, and you get a direct in the third week of February, and you get a direct in the fourth week. You're like, oh, shit! I wanted to do 3:30 in February, and I fell short. Here's what I would say. Hey, man, over the past 15 days, like, you're 2/3 of the way there. You've got 15 days to get one more direct, and that's a 3:30. Even if it's not in a calendar month, it's in a rolling 30 days. Let's get 3:30. When I do cardio, here's how I do cardio. If I'm doing, let's say, 30 minutes of cardio on the elliptical, level 6, some of you guys are laughing, I know. That's what I do every day. I'm a 51-year-old, out-of-shape dude, right? I get to 6 minutes on the elliptical, and I look down and I go, ooh, you know what? In another minute and a half, I'm 25% of the way done. And then all of a sudden I get to 8 minutes, and I'm like, dude, in 2 more minutes I'll be a third of the way done. And all of a sudden I'm at the 10-minute mark. I'm like, yep, third of the way done. And then I get to like the 12, 13-minute mark. I'm like, oh, in 2 minutes, I'm halfway done. See, you get one direct. With all your last man standing baseline units of activity, one direct, you're a third of the way done. You get a second direct, and you're like, crap, I'm more than halfway done. Because I know you. You're going to have more than 2 apps at this point. You probably got 5 or 6 apps at this point after your second direct. It's not even an issue. The apps are going to come. But you're 2/3 of the way there. You get that third direct, all of a sudden the master copy is worth duplicating. You do it 2 months in a row, and out of those 6 directs, yeah, one of them's probably quit. Maybe 2 of them have quit. One of them's probably done 3:30. 2 of them have come close. One of them maybe did nothing at all. I bet by your third month, you've got 3 guys at least that have done 3:30. Maybe one guy's done it twice, and one other guy's done it. But by this time, you've got a guy in position. You probably have 2 guys in position by your third month to legitimately go on a 10-10-30 senior associate run. And can I tell you the secret sauce of what you're doing? You're building people. You're creating a master copy that's worth duplicating. And every month that you're doing 3:30, you're shifting your beliefs about how easy it is. You're shifting your language, the way you communicate it to new recruits. You're shifting your example of the way you demonstrate it to all the existing old guys in your base shop and in the office. You're far more congruent. You're far more certain and confident in the conversations that you're having. It becomes, every time you do it, it gets easier and easier and easier in your mind. Just like your baseline units of activity, just like any exercise program. Every time you, the studette that's been grinding this out for 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 years, every time you re-qualify as an associate with our company, you make a stronger master copy that is more worth duplicating, and you get better at duplicating it in others because your beliefs about how easy 3:30 is to do, your expectations of other people to do it, the standards that you set, the certainty that you have, the confidence and congruency. You're so congruent in your beliefs, in your language, in your behavior, and your results. It's all completely congruent. And as you're doing 3:30 and you're challenging everybody to do it, you're actually getting some there. 2 or 3 will emerge over the next 2, 3, 4 months that legitimately can make a 10-10-30 run. Let me ask you this just as a question, just sort of an epiphany. What do you think is easier for you to do after all the years that you've been here? Re-qualify for SMD if you're a small SMD? Hit SMD on your 9th time trying for it if you've never hit it before? Or building a couple of associates, finding a hot 1 or 2 and getting them on a 10-10-30 senior associate run, building a couple of senior associates. See, to me, in my mind, it's way easier to build senior associates than it is to become an SMD. But if you can build 2 or 3 senior associates in the way that I'm describing, 1 or 2 of them is going to pop out to MD. Now, all of a sudden, you're going out strong as a builder. Now you've got 2 or 3 senior associate legs, maybe 1 MD leg. You're giving up a leg, but you've got 2 strong legs left. You got a handful of other smaller developmental legs, and you've got the momentum and the beliefs and the expectations and the habits and the certainty and the story of a builder. And after you give up that exchange leg, you're not small. You don't have 6 guys showing up at the meeting. You still got 2 senior associate legs left and 3 other associate legs. And you've got activity, you've got momentum, you've got a culture, you've got an environment. You know what happens? 2-3 months after, you're building more associates and more senior associate legs, and one of your senior associate legs, monkey see, monkey do, you help them to build 2 or 3 senior associate legs, and they go out as your first SMD 2, 3, 4 months later. And they give up a great exchange leg to you that you helped build, and they've got 2 legs left after that, some other smaller legs. And you literally start building people with real teams and real promotion based on real builder standards and guidelines instead of chasing points and trying to make money at this stupid thing. Stop working for money. Build an asset. Don't focus on the money. Focus on building people. Focus on building yourself first with a 3-3-30. Focus on building others into 3-3-30 machines. Use that as a simple, duplicatable model. It's genius what Swan created. But it's not something you can just talk about in the front of the room. Hey, everybody needs the 3-3-30. You have to do it. You got to become the ultimate master copy. Imagine this. If your leader was a master copy that did 3-3-30 every month, it's not like breaking records. They'd have 36 directs at the end of the year. But is that a leader that, is congruent? Are they confident? Are they needy? Do they need you? Do they have a healthy sense of indifference? Is it somebody you want to follow? Is it somebody you want to learn from? Be that leader. Build a team. Build an asset. That's the way you build wealth in this country. Not by chasing big sales and rollovers, right? You build assets. The easiest asset to build is not assets under management, which is a terrific asset. You should go do a bunch of that. But the easiest asset to build is people under leadership. The easiest skill set that we have is the invitation to a meeting. And you've got somebody signing them in and somebody giving them a tour and a bunch of people in your office that are helping you with Mozo, and you got a couple people doing presentations for you. You may have 1 or 2 people helping you out with the interview and the fast start. You can match them up to be field trained. The people that understand wealth accumulation, that understand building assets, put an inordinate amount of time and energy into the invitation. Look at Tita Lozano. Look at Louise Haig as examples. You put an inordinate amount of time into inviting guests and building people and building the master copy of 3-3-30. It's hard for you to drive other people, challenge people. It's hard for you to challenge people to get their promotions if you can't do it yourself. If you can't, in your experience, with all of your skills and all your experience and all the elite circles you've been through and all the special trainings, right? If you can't get an associate promotion in February, come on. Come on. Or if you're too cool for school, been there, done that, I don't need to prove myself. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you need to prove yourself to yourself first. Maybe the second month you start proving it to your team. Maybe in the third month you're proving it to your leadership. Can you re-qualify for associate? Have you mastered that? Having done something once or twice or 8 times over the past 6 years is hardly mastering anything. checking the box? Have you mastered it? I think that's got to be your focus. I think Last Man Standing is unbelievable. I think it's really put a bunch of energy into the hierarchy. I'm personally looking forward to seeing who finishes that in each one of the offices. I think the baseline units of activity is a fundamental, part of our DNA that we can't ever get away from. Part-time, full-time, big-time, training associates all the way up to SEVCs. But I think we got to become really good at promoting ourselves from training associate to associate, of reinstilling our moral authority to lead, of making our master copies better and better and better. I want you to just think about that. If you've only done 3, 30, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 times in the past 5 years, how much better your business would be, how much better your leadership would be, how much better your beliefs would be. If that was as much of a daily focus as Last Man Standing and baseline units of activity, if Last Man Standing and baseline units of activity were geared towards you getting your 3-3-30 every month, what would your story be then? What would your relationships be like that? What would the rate of growth of teammates be? The size of your team, the productivity of your team, the number of guests down to the office, and new recruits, and new licensed agents, and apps in the field, and production, and promotions, and cash flow. What would that look like? What would your relationships look like? How would your spouse, how would your family be looking at you in this business? How much more control would you have over your time and your autonomy? How much more wealth would you be generating? How much more money would you be saving? Hey, you do 3-3-30, some are going to quit. Some will try. Some will fall short. That's okay. It's okay. By building associates, you'll find a couple to build the senior associate and MD. You know that. Hey, you know what? Casey Klein, year in, year out, is one of the best direct recruiters in the hierarchy. Constantly getting wide, does a really good job with personal recruits, does a good job of following up with her team recruits. Not perfect, but does a really good job, better than most. It's because of that she finds a Josh and an Ashley and challenges them to 3-3-30, and as soon as they're done with 3-3-30, challenges them to 10-10-30. Challenges them to get to their MD promotion, right? It's not like some great leadership secret or some magic pixie dust she sprinkles on them or she got lucky. It's through the constant direct recruiting that she finds one that takes the 3-3-30 challenge, and then after they do that, they got some momentum, then you challenge them to a 5-5 or a 10-10. If you want to graduate S&D University, if you want to go out strong, if you want to be a builder, if you want to change the course of your career this year, if you want to grow exponentially, don't focus on chasing apps and chasing money. There's plenty of that to be made. Focus on building an asset, building people. And the only way you can build people is by inviting a bunch of people and recruiting some of them. And we never know which ones will and which ones won't. Which ones will take the 3-3-30 challenge, which ones will take the 10-10-30 challenge. Which ones are going to quit, which ones are going to stay, which ones are you going to convince to stay and then they blossom, which ones are, we just don't know. But it all starts with not them but you. You can't control them, but you can control you. Unsuccessful people always focus on the things they can't control, and that frustrates them, and that becomes part of their story. Successful people always focus on the things that they can control, which is their daily activity. And you can control your daily activity enough and the intentions behind that activity to make sure that you do 3-3-30 every month. To make sure that you're worthy of an associate title in our company every single month. Some of us don't hold on to the MD or the SMD title very proudly because it's been so long since we did what was necessary to wear the associate badge proudly. It's not because you're not capable, and this is not a beat-up session. This is a wake-up call. I want to wake up the giant within you, said Tony Robbins, right? You've got a giant inside of you. I know who you are. I know how bad you want this. I know how bad you need this. I know how capable you are. The master copy has to be worth duplicating. You've got to become a master copy that is beyond reproach. That master copy is going to be the single source of your confidence, of your swag, of your certainty, of your congruency, of your expectations, of your beliefs. And the last man standing in the daily baseline units of activity feed towards, I got to get my 3-3-30. And I'm challenging everybody around me to get their 3-3-30, but I'm going to do it first. I'm not challenging them, trying to trick a few of them into get it when I'm not going to do it. Whether they do it or not, I'm getting mine. I'm getting mine. Remember, mediocrity is worse than failure. Let's not be mediocre today. Let's not be mediocre this week or this month. Let's pursue greatness. Is becoming an associate, is requalifying for associate title, is that greatness? I believe it's the beginning of greatness, because it's the beginning of creating that master copy. And the master copy is what makes us a builder, okay? Wherever your focus goes is where your energy flows. I want your focus to go on the last man standing, the daily baseline units of activity. I want your focus to go on qualifying for 3-3-30 and us to have an explosion of 3-3-30 promotions, not in the new guys, but in the leaders. If it happens in the leaders, I already know it's going to happen in the new guys. But I want it to happen in the leaders first, and I want you to be that leader, and I want you to be the master copy worth duplicating. I want it to happen for you this month. I hope that helps you in some small way. I know there's a few of you out there that's the message you needed to hear. It's the shift that you needed to go through. That's the leverage that you needed to create on yourself to interrupt the pattern of the story that's been holding you back. And that's the strategy that you need to really implement and put your energy and your focus into. I believe in you. This really is going to be our best year ever. Let's make it your best year ever, and not by a little bit, by a lot. Appreciate you guys. Have an unbelievable day.